Another story breaking as we are recording here. I have an article here from Insider Gaming. Exclusive, Brock Lesnar's WWE 2K24 status. Obviously, people have been wondering what's going on with Brock Lesnar in the game.
Wait a minute. Actually, I have a recording of that status live.
And that was over the toilet. But here's what it says here. Brock Lesnar is in WWE WWE 2K24. I'm adding T's for no reason. Brock Lesnar is in WWE 2K24, but you won't be able to play as him.
What? How does that even work then?
Multiple sources have told Insider Gaming that while it was too late to fully remove Lesnar from the game, the plan shifted to simply make him unplayable for players upon release.
So wait a minute. That means that he's refused to do business with anybody that buys the game. He won't put anybody over.
Despite being unplayable, his characters and game files are still within WWE 2K24 or 24. That means that there will be ways for those with the ability to get him to become playable. It'll just take some work to make it happen. As far as why he's not just removed from the game, there are a couple of reasons. The biggest reason is the fact that it was so late in the game's development when the latest allegations against Vince McMahon arose that it also implicated Lesnar, though he was not mentioned by name. Another is it's possible that he has minor inclusions within different game modes. Insider Gaming has reached out to over a dozen contacts at 2K through various methods for comments on Lesnar's status within the game, as well as what sources have said. As of writing, each request has gone unanswered. The closest to an answer has been a rep passing along what the company says is the full roster, with Lesnar not included. The story is still developing, and that's really it. It's launching March 8th, the game.
Is that, are they like, remember when they used to sell things for kids and games and toys and stuff, batteries not included? Are they now going to put up a graphic, Brock Lesnar not included? You got to get him separately from the black market. I don't know, being just a small town bird lawyer, I don't know about all the terminology you talked about, playable character and download, all that stuff. But apparently they have minimized his presence and his utilization ability in this game as much as they possibly could without, but tearing the thing apart and starting from scratch, I guess, is what it sounds like, right?
What do you do with Brock? He's not being sued. He's being accused of things without naming him allegedly in the suit, but not as a party to the suit. And nothing ended up, other than the video, I guess, being sent, there was no physical interaction between the two parties, between Janelle Grant and Brock Lesnar.
Well, but and I mean, still technically we have the lawsuit's statement that a video was sent. We haven't seen the video, nor do we
want to.
Well, no, we don't have third-party acknowledgement that this is a fact. This is what's alleged in the lawsuit. But here's my problem with the Brockster. With everybody else, it was corporate officer number one or executive number one or legal department guy number, love potion number 9, whatever the fuck, right? Strawberry letter 23.
Ah,
but there was one.
Shuggy Otis.
There you go.
Brothers
but
Johnson.
And bam. They did there was an instrumental, bam.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Also, and Rido Rocket. But nevertheless, Brock Lesnar was not named by name, but the description was such a narrow description that would only fit pretty much him, that's what people ran with. And one would have to think that if Brock Lesnar, because now he was off WrestleMania and off the Elimination Chamber, he was out of the Royal Rumble. We talked about that on a show a week or two ago. Those 3 days right there, that's a few $1 million he's lost at minimum. And now if he's out of this game, does that mean, I don't know how their royalty system works, but if he's in there only reluctantly because they didn't have time to take him out, and he's not featured or involved in any of the advertising, I would imagine that affects his royalties in some fashion. If you were Brock Lesnar and you were not the guy being referred to in the lawsuit, would you not have had your agent or attorney make a public statement saying, hey, fuck all y'all? It's not Brock. We can prove it's not Brock, and we intend to do that. Or would you ignore the whole thing because what else you going to say? Well, God damn it. Yeah, it's Brock, but we think her lawsuit's bullshit, and Brock was a victim of Vince's. It might work with Laurinaitis being a goddamn victim of an 80-year-old fucking senile sex pest, but I don't think people would have a lot of sympathy for Brock Lesnar, multi-million-dollar UFC fighter and fucking badass, being forced by his employer that he works for twice a year to fucking make nasty with an employee. So he the time for saying, hey, it wasn't me, I wasn't even there, it's this guy over here, to me has passed, has it not? Don't you have to deny something that's that widespread, that's getting that much attention and causing people to pull out on you unless there is something to it?
Well, that's part of the thing, too, because if not now, when? For Brock Lesnar, if you're not going to bring him back now because all this is happening, how are you eventually going to roll him back in there without it being a topic of conversation? It has to be addressed at some point.
I don't know. I don't know he gets rolled back in at this point. How old is Brock now?
Early 40s?
Well, he was in OVW 24 years ago now.
Mid 40s?
So it's not like he does this for the love of the game. He does it for a lot of money. Do they want to pay him a lot of money anymore based on the fact that he may bring more negative attention for the foreseeable future than positive, and they've got a bunch of stars? And by the time that this wears off, if it ever does, will Brock be, will he be worth however many $1 million that he demands to show up and do whatever the fuck he's doing? He's still a tremendous performer, but how long you got to take off over something like this? Or do they give a shit? Are they like, well, fuck, Brock could never be an announcer. We talked about CM Punk being an announcer for WWE and UFC because he's got experience in both. Brock couldn't announce a fire at a crowded theater. But he's still a Hall of Famer in both goddamn genres, and now the same company owns it. He could make a fucking fortune over the next couple years if he hadn't gotten himself in deep shit, potentially, allegedly, being involved in shit that he should have known better.
Well, it wasn't shit, it was piss, but that's a whole other story.
But what did the put it? If you wanted to fucking get some goddamn something going on the road or whatever the fuck, why would you want Vince involved? Isn't that a goddamn hard-on killer right there? I mean, just the thought of that alone. I don't care if it was goddamn the sexiest woman on the planet. If Vince is involved.
Just talking to Vince about sex has to be awkward.
No, hooty hoot. I don't even think. God damn, it would turn me into a fucking monk.
And one other thing, we brought up the Nails story the other day. You gotta remember, Nails, Kevin Kelly, was a tall blonde guy. Maybe Vince has a type.
Oh, come on.
He had Laurinaitis with him. Maybe he has a type.
Nails was a tall blonde guy. Yes, I'll agree with that. So was fucking Michael Myers under the mask, maybe. But
he didn't work there.
At the same time, he had a goddamn face. If you had a face like Nails's, you'd fucking shave your ass and walk backwards.
All right, well, we will stay on top of this story in the weeks ahead, Jim.